It's July 1st, 2018. Deep inside Rio prison, just south of Paris, a helicopter descends onto the courtyard. Guards scramble to react, but they're too late. In less than 10 minutes, Ridwan Fade, a career criminal infamous for his love of Hollywood crime films, is gone, escaped. The world's most wanted jailbreak artist has vanished once again.
Now, thousands of police officers are continuing a manhunt for the convict who dramatically escaped from a French prison.
We have details for you on a dramatic prison break. This taking place in France as police are hunting for a notorious gangster who made a bold escape from a Paris jail.
Now, this video you can see here was filmed by an inmate in Recapture, a prison south of Paris. What you are seeing here is a video shot through the bars of the compound as a notorious French gangster is lifted in a helicopter out.
Interior Ministry has said they are putting all resources into trying to find this fugitive, this notorious gangster who is now on the run.
Ridwan Fade wasn't just any criminal. He was meticulous, charismatic, and completely unrepentant. To him, life wasn't just about survival. It was about spectacle. And while most inmates dream of parole, Fade planned his escapes like a Hollywood movie. But how did a young man from a small French suburb, inspired by his favorite crime thrillers, transform into one of the most elusive fugitives in history? And what happens when the lines between fantasy and reality blur so completely? This is the story of Ridwan Fade, the man who brought cinema to life through crime and became France's most daring escapee. The year is 1972, and in the gritty suburb of Creil, just north of Paris, Ridwan Fade is born. He was the fourth of 13 siblings in a family of Algerian immigrants. Their home was cramped, noisy, and chaotic. Life in Creil was tough. But for Fade, it became even harder when his father walked out on the family. Without a father figure, Ridwan had to navigate a challenging world on his own, growing up too quickly in an environment shaped by poverty and limited opportunity. The absence of his father left a void that Fade filled with ambition and defiance. He was resourceful from a young age, learning how to shoulder responsibility while seeking ways to rise above his circumstances. In the concrete maze of the housing projects, his sharp mind and magnetic personality set him apart. While his siblings coped with their struggles in quieter ways, Fade became the one who took risks, the one who dreamed of breaking free from the confines of their harsh reality. As a teenager, Fade drifted into petty crime. Shoplifting, sneaking into theaters, and reselling stolen goods became his way of asserting control over a life that seemed to offer little hope. Despite the challenges at home, Fade remained fiercely protective of his family. He often took on the role of a father figure to his younger siblings, providing them with guidance and shielding them from the dangers of the streets as much as he could. His loyalty to his family would later become a defining feature of his criminal empire, but in those early years, it was simply an expression of his desire to protect the people he loved. As he grew older, Fade's ambitions outgrew the petty crimes of his youth. By the time he was in his 20s, Fade had transitioned from small-time thefts to more serious crimes. He formed a crew made up of his brothers and cousins, people he trusted implicitly. Together, they began orchestrating carefully planned heists, targeting high-value assets with a level of precision that stunned even seasoned criminals. For Fade, family wasn't just a source of loyalty, it was his foundation. In a world where betrayal was common, he knew he could count on blood ties to keep his operations secure. These early heists laid the groundwork for Fade's reputation as a gentleman gangster. Unlike other criminals who relied on brute force, he approached each job with meticulous planning and a flair for the dramatic. He avoided unnecessary violence, focusing instead on psychological tactics and well-executed strategies. His charisma and leadership made him a natural figurehead, and his crew followed him with unwavering loyalty. Yet beneath the polished image of a sophisticated criminal, there was a man shaped by hardship and loss. The absence of his father had left scars, but it had also fueled his determination to prove himself. Fade wasn't content to survive. He wanted to thrive, to rewrite the story of his life on his own terms. And by the late 1990s, Fade's name was becoming known in the Parisian underworld. He had risen from a fatherless boy in Creil to a calculated leader whose operations were admired and feared in equal measure. His story was just beginning, but the seeds of his legend had already been sown in the streets of Creil, where a boy who had lost everything dreamed of taking it all back. In the spring of 1999, he secured the money, incapacitated the guards without harming anyone, and disappeared into the bustling streets of Paris. The entire operation was over before anyone realized what had happened. The heist netted millions, but it wasn't just the money that captured the public's imagination. It was the way the robbery had been executed. Flawless, almost cinematic. To the media, it wasn't just a crime. It was a spectacle. Stories began circulating about the man behind the operation, painting Fade as a charismatic and calculated leader. Unlike the stereotypical image of a ruthless gangster, Fade was described as polite, intelligent, and even charming. His ability to combine efficiency with a lack of unnecessary violence earned him the nickname Gentleman Gangster. Fade's reliance on his family crew was a key factor in his success. By working exclusively with his brothers and cousins, he ensured a level of loyalty that was rare in the criminal underworld. This unity made his operation nearly impossible for law enforcement to penetrate. Each member of the crew had a specific role, from reconnaissance to logistics, and they carried out their tasks with an almost professional discipline. For Fade, family wasn't just a convenience, it was his greatest weapon. But the heist that catapulted Fade to fame also brought new challenges. The public fascination with his story only added fuel to the fire, as every media report further cemented his status as France's most wanted man. Despite the increased scrutiny, Fade didn't let the pressure show. To him, the success of the heist was proof of his brilliance, a validation of the path he had chosen. But he also knew that fame came with a cost. The more he succeeded, the more attention he attracted, and the harder it became to operate in the shadows. Really Fouki was fatally shot. Her death sent shockwaves through France, turning what might have been another infamous heist into a tragedy that would haunt Fade's legacy forever. The incident marked a turning point in Fade's life. The death of Aurélie Fouki brought intense scrutiny from both the media and law enforcement. He was no longer just a gentleman gangster or a master thief. He was now a fugitive linked to the killing of a police officer. The public's perception of him began to shift. Perhaps the most daring element of Fade's plan involved explosives. These weren't industrial-grade materials smuggled in whole. They were small components brought in over time and assembled inside the prison. Using household items and creative engineering, Fade's team crafted explosives powerful enough to breach reinforced doors. The components were hidden in everyday objects like cans, toiletries, or food packaging, ensuring they wouldn't raise suspicion during inspections. However, Fade's charisma was another weapon in his arsenal. He knew that trust was a vulnerability he could exploit. Over months, he cultivated relationships with prison staff, presenting himself as cooperative and even likable. He avoided confrontations, complied with rules, and maintained an aura of calm, all while gathering critical intelligence about guard routines, blind spots, and security weaknesses. His crew outside the prison didn't just wait for instructions, they actively monitored the facility. Using drones and long-range cameras, they studied the movements of guards, delivery schedules, and even shifts in lighting around the perimeter. Fade received detailed reports, giving him a comprehensive understanding of both the internal and external security environment. The most remarkable aspect of Fade's preparation was how seamlessly he coordinated the timing of each element. From the smuggling of contraband to the synchronization of outside help, every aspect of the escape relied on precision. Even the placement of explosive charges was calculated to maximize impact while minimizing collateral damage, ensuring the breach would be quick and effective. When the plan finally came together, it was clear that Fade had transformed his confinement into an opportunity for reinvention. He used the very constraints of the prison system to his advantage. And on a fateful April morning, the plan sprang into action. Explosions echoed through the prison as strategically placed charges tore through steel doors and fortified walls. Smoke filled the air, disorienting guards and creating a chaotic scene. Within minutes, heavily armed accomplices stormed the facility, their faces hidden and their intentions clear. They took guards hostage, demanding access to Fade's cell. The entire operation unfolded with precision. Just minutes after it began, Ridwan Fade walked out of Sequidin prison, flanked by smoke and chaos, and disappeared into a waiting getaway car. The escape dominated headlines across France. Media outlets described it as something out of a Hollywood film, with commentators marveling at the sheer audacity and precision of the operation. Fade became a household name overnight, a figure who was as admired for his cunning as he was feared for his criminality. Yet, for all the glory, the crew rehearsed the plan multiple times, using mock-ups and studying aerial footage of the prison. Every second was accounted for, and every move was choreographed to ensure the highest chance of success. The morning of July 1, 2018 began like any other at Rio Prison. Guards conducted their rounds, prisoners milled about, and the facility remained locked in its usual rhythm of strict routines and controlled chaos. Unbeknownst to them, a helicopter was cutting through the sky, making its way toward the prison courtyard. Monitored around the clock by surveillance cameras, and subjected to frequent transfers between facilities to prevent him from establishing any patterns or connections. In 2020, Fade faced trial for his helicopter escape and was convicted on multiple charges, including armed robbery, kidnapping, and facilitating a prison break. The court handed him a 25-year sentence. This sentence added to the decades he was already serving for his previous crimes, effectively ensuring that he would spend the rest of his life in prison. Today, Ridwan Fade remains incarcerated in a maximum security prison in France, as a symbol of defiance and ingenuity, a man who turned his life into a real-world heist film at the cost of public safety.